Guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jem, if you don't know me, and I'm so glad you're here because today, if you look behind me, we're in the housing lobby, and I will be giving you guys the complete beginner's guide to housing in 2024. So that will include all of the things I think are important for a person that is at least relatively new to housing to know if they want to make a cool house but are overwhelmed by all of the features, because HYPIXEL has added a lot to housing over the years. So let's get started, shall we? So if you're new to housing, you'll go to the game menu, which you're probably familiar with, click on the door, and it will bring you here to the housing lobby. And then we have three NPCs. We have one where you can browse houses from other people. You can look at the houses you have made, or you can go to a random house. So to make your first house, if you don't have one, you're going to click on the guy in the middle, and you're going to click, and usually there will be a little button where you have an empty slot and it will say create house, but we're just going to go into this one that I have, and this is just a plain empty house. This is what it will look like when you enter for the first time, and this is basically it. So you will start off in this very basic theme, and some main things to note are you will spawn in this balloon area here, and you will have this guy here known as your carpenter, and he has a menu that looks like this. Now, I do have some features that are rank specific or Housing Plus specific, and we'll get into that in just a moment, but just know that not everything might look the same for you when you go create your house. So, with that being said, as you can see, there is this really big boundary of red wool around my plot. That is because I have Housing Plus. I just want to let you know straight off the bat that this is not usually the case. Usually you will have a small, I believe 31 by 31 plot to work in, and you can upgrade it with mystery dust, and same thing with unlocking themes, which we'll get to in just a bit as well. But here we are. You can run down here and start building, basically. And there is a limit to how deep you can go in your plot and how high you can build. But other than that, you can kind of just get creative with it. Just note that you might have only certain blocks available to you depending on what version. Like, I think I'm on 1.8.9, so only those blocks will be available to me, excluding a few things. So the first thing I want to teach you are basic settings for your plot. So this would include things in the housing menu, this little nether start here, that are like your visiting rules, your house settings, and your visibility, and things like that. So first, we're going to go over here to this right side, see this pickaxe. You want to make sure this says build mode, like it does for me right now, if you're planning to build. If you click it, it'll switch you to social mode, and it will get rid of the red border for your plot. I believe you or other people that you have given permission to build on your plot are the only people that can see that border. But when you click it, it goes back to social mode. So see, it was a puffer, or build mode, I'm sorry. See, it was a puffer fish in social mode, and now it's a pickaxe in build mode. And then we're gonna go over here to visiting rules, this little Steve head right here. So when you click visiting rules, you can decide who you want to allow to visit your house. So right now, as a default, when you make a new house, it it sets your visiting rule for that house to private. And all of these settings are separate per house, so you can have one house that's guild only or friends only, and another house that's public. But for now, we're going to keep it on private so that no one comes in while I'm doing this tutorial for you guys. But you can change this, and if I select something like public just for a second, it will turn on guild, friend, and party as well. So that is something to know. Next thing, right next to the Steve head, you have your house settings category. So if you go in here, it's a lot of the basic settings. It will show you that you can change the time of your plot, so I can change the time to pretty much anything. I can also toggle whether I want the daylight cycle to run in this house or not. For now, I will leave it off. And then you can choose how many players you want to be the maximum in your house. And this is actually a good segue to talk about visibility for a second. We will go back here in just a moment. But this little die here is your visibility menu, so you can decide how many players you want to be able to see when you are at a house, either your own or someone else's. So you can select off if you want to hide all players. Say you're doing a parkour and you don't really want anyone else to distract you, you can select this. And this setting basically sort of depends on how comfortable you are with your PC and its specs. So if you have a lower end laptop that's not really built for gaming as much, you might want to keep it down to 25. But if you have a higher end computer, you might want to go up to 100 or even unlimited. To be honest, I don't think I've even seen 200 people in a house at once. So you should be okay. If you choose this, knowing that it probably won't go too high above 100. But again, know your computer's limits for this. So going back here, just know that is slightly different from this setting, max players. So right now it says that I can have a maximum of 30 players in my house at once, and I can left click or right click to cycle forwards or backwards. And I can go all the way up to a dynamic, and it gives you a little description for each thing. We're gonna just go to 125 for now and leave it there, or no, 90. 90 is good. Right next to it, you have house name. So you can also do /housing name and then type what you want the name of your house to be, and that will show up in a couple places. First, it will show up here on the right hand side in the scoreboard if you don't change what is in your scoreboard. And we will get to that a little later on in the video. And it will also show up in the tab menu, and I don't believe you can change that. So see, it says you are in Red House by Gemesthetic, and right now Red House is the house name. So that's one of the default house names that it gives you. So if you don't change your house name, it'll end up being something like Red House or Blue House or Green House. So that's just something to know. But if you click on it, you can name it anything you want. So I can say Gems Housing Tutorial, and then click this piece of paper, and boom, it changes. Sometimes it'll take a second for it to update in the tab menu, but it does change. See, there it is. But pretty much anything in housing can use color codes. And if you don't know what they are, let me grab a sign for you and show you. Alright, so here we are with the color codes, and there they all are. So you have to put the and symbol, the ampersand, this is it right right here in chat. I don't know if you can see it. Let me place down a sign. You have to put that before each and every one of these. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, and A, B, C, D, E, F. And so the letters are basically like pastel versions of the first 6 numbers or so. And then 0 is black, F is white, and then 7 and 8 are gray colors. And then over here on this sign we have the formatting codes, and these are separate, and that these don't change the color, but you can use them in combination with this. So for example, if I wanted that darkest blue at the top left, I could do &1 and then with &L, and I would get bold blue text. For example, and now if I look off to the right, we have high and in tab, and it is bold. And then if you use &O, you get italic text. &K, you get kind of like crazy text. So it kind of changes. Not really sure how to explain it. And then &R just resets the formatting back to whatever it was originally. So for example, on these signs, it would be just black, unbolded text. So we will remove these. You can also Google Minecraft formatting codes and find them all without too much difficulty. Going back into our settings, you can upgrade your plot size here with mystery dust, and so I can't maximize mine anymore, as you can see, because I have Housing Plus. Here you set your house tags, so they're kind of ways that players can filter when they're in the house discovery menu. So see, you can sort by like mini game tag or build tag, and so that's one thing you can do in order to find a house that you might like. So you might want to enable the tags. You can have up to 3 so that people can find your house more easily. So say I wanted to turn on general, chat, and build. There, I have done that. House language, you can select the language for your house. So we're gonna select English. You can have up to 3. And then your cookie jar isn't really that important because you can see your cookies here. Unless you change the scoreboard, I believe you can also see it in tab as well. But cookies are basically a way of players saying, hey, I like this house. And then another metric you can sort your houses by when you're trying to find a house to visit is the number of cookies they have. And so it's kind of just a popularity meter, honestly. But you get to give out 10 packs of cookies per week. No more than 1 pack per house, and depending on your rank, you can give out anywhere from 1 to 6 cookies through no rank up to MVP++. And then this setting isn't super important, but it decides if you have parkour in your house, if you want it to be announced for everyone. Join leave messages. This decides whether a guest, when they open a door or a fence, whether you want it, well, a fence gate, whether you want it to auto reset back to what it was. So basically to prevent them from getting through that area, in a sense, I believe, is what that does. Statuses are just to show players' lobby statuses over their heads. Player data, you can go into this more, and it basically decides how long you want to store players' data for. So that can include anything from their location inside your house to their stats to, yeah, basically anything like that. And then you can decide how long you want it to stay for. So I believe with Housing Plus, you can choose that for up to a year. And without it, I think 7 days is the max. And then you can have PvP and damage settings. So you can decide if you want PvP on, if you want keep inventory on, and all sorts of things like that. And that basically covers the house settings, except for down here, this TNT will reset your house. And if you click it, you can decide whether you want to cancel, hollow out your build area, or just reset it back to the way it was. After going through all of the house settings, we get to themes up here. So themes are basically a way of making this normally uneditable outside part of your plot look different. And you can switch between themes at any time. So let's go through some of them. So we start out on this, the default theme. And then we have snow theme, mesa theme, enchanted forest, and so on. So I will select the aquatic theme. I don't remember what that is like. And it'll warn me, since I have Housing Plus, that some of the exterior of the plot may be changed. But normally you would not get that warning. And sometimes you might have to do a chunk reload, so that could just be F3 and A. And then boom, you have your new theme. Sometimes certain things will take a moment to update since it is sort of a big task for the server to just change all of these blocks at once. But as you can see, it looks different. And I believe for some of the less expensive themes, the balloon color changes as well. So that's nice. Like, let me go to, Smiley's theme. I know that one does it. And we're just gonna look away and reload chunks. There's a surprise for you. And boom. So this is the maximum of the normal editable plot size, I believe. Unless you're on the air theme, in which case it's bigger. But see, now the hot air balloon is a smiley, and you don't go forward and then take a right. When you get out of the balloon, you just walk forward, straight to your platform. You can even get really fancy themes like, gosh, I don't even know what this theme is. We're gonna craft it. And so when you craft it, you have to then go in and select it. Oh, this is really pretty, actually. I'm glad I got this. They add new themes occasionally, and this might need another chunk load. No, this will just have to be carved out, I guess. This is beautiful. Wow. For only 30 dust? We might come back to this one. So as you can see, you would normally arrive here. Let's select, let me make sure I'm flying for this because I don't want to get stuck in a block. Some of them are holiday specific, but let me show you. Sunny Shore, what is this theme? I don't remember. This one will be a lot bigger, so instead of being just a little island, it's a bit more expansive. So this one is like a whole little beach town sort of vibe. And up here you have buildings. Then you have cute little umbrellas and beach towels down there. And let's do one more example. So the Jardin theme is really nice. Some of the themes you normally can't really see the outside of. So this would be a good example of that. This is the Jardin theme. I believe it's one of the most expensive ones at like 90 mystery dust, if I remember correctly. But it has just these really pretty gardens. And yeah, you can totally change the vibe of your house with the different themes. Another thing to note is if you're VIP or higher, you get access to this jukebox where you can decide on songs that you want to play in your house. I don't know why it has only these selected, unless I don't know. But you can skip songs, you can turn all songs on or off, or only have certain ones. And they're really nice, but some people prefer not to use that feature. Alright. So one thing I want to show you is regions. So for this, you're going to go to the top left and click on Pro Tools. And you're going to grab the region selection. So before we move into the region section, I want to discuss that this is where you can find a lot of the blocks or plants, different decorative heads or items or furniture you might have unlocked, as well as changing the biome of your plot without changing the theme and the sky. So I can set the nether sky and it'll reload everything and boom. It's like we're in the nether, minus the biome. The grass and leaves still look normal. You can also change the weather, which is really nice. So I can make it rain. Or I can stop it. And then there's also these two options as well. PvP items are in here. I prefer to personally just open up the creative menu and search for what I need in there. It's easier for me. But it is worth noting that if you go to the end of the blocks menu, you can get a barrier, which you normally can't get in the creative menu, or in the plants menu, you can get these 6-sided mushroom blocks. Now on to regions. So regions, you need to go into this menu, and it is called the Pro Tools menu. It's basically World Edit, if you know what World Edit is, but with a lot less functionality. So you need to grab the region selection tool. It's just a stick. You can also type // into your chat and press enter and it will give it to you. But regions are useful for deciding, okay, I want certain settings in this one specific area of my house. Or I want certain things to happen when someone enters or leaves this area. So let's build just a little hut real quick. Right around here. Okay, we now have a cute little hut, and let's say that we wanted this to be a region. So you would right click one block or left click another block. You would do one click for the first block and then do the other click for the second one, and basically everything inside of those two blocks. So let me get different blocks so you can see what I mean a little better. I'll grab this glass. Okay, so now see the red particles? That shows sort of the borders of this box that I have selected. So everything in here will be affected by what I do next. And so then I go into the housing menu, I click on this rail, systems, I go to the grass block for regions, and then I click this X to create a region. And I can type in house. And then it creates that region. And then from here you can rename it, you can set PvP settings, teleport to it, all sorts of things. But we're going to go into the entry actions section just to show you what it does. So we'll click display title, and then we'll do Alright, so now, when I enter that entire region, anywhere in there, it will display the message I just set. So I walk in, and it says welcome. Isn't that great? And I walk out, and I can walk back in, say I want to walk in from over here. Welcome. So that is something you can do with regions. There's a lot more to it, but I'm going to leave it at that for this tutorial. And the next thing I would like to show is the scoreboard on the right side and how you can edit it. So we're going to click on systems again. Regions, my bad. Systems, and then this will map, and it is the scoreboard editor. So from left to right is how you can view what will appear in your scoreboard from top to bottom. So we have the house name at the top. You cannot change this up here, where it displays the server you're in or anything like that, but you can edit everything here. So these blank lines separate the house name and the guests and the cookies. And I can left click to edit, right click to remove, and I can shift click left or right to change the order of something. So I'm going to remove everything. And it's just this tiny little scoreboard. And you can reset to the default too. So now I'm going to click add item. And we are going to display a custom line. We're going to type in welcome to my house. And now it will appear for everyone who joins. Then we can add a blank line. And we can put in how many cookies there are. And it says 0 because this house is new. No one has given any cookies this week. And that's basically all there is to the scoreboard as far as basic things go. And I went into that zone again. But yeah, you can fool around with it have fun with it, all of that. The last thing I wanted to show you today was groups and teams. So we're going to start off with groups. The difference is that groups are more of a permission thing as far as like who can build in your house, who can open doors in your house, all of that stuff, who can fly. And then teams is a little different, and it can be used for PvP cases. It can be used just as an extra way to add like a prefix or suffix to someone's name in chat and all of that. So we're going to go groups, and they have by default guest, which is for everyone that comes in, resident, co-owner, and owner. So if I click on guest, you can change the name, you can change the tag, which would be what shows up in the tab menu. You can change the color of the tag, priority, which is basically sort of like the order of these groups. So owner has a higher priority than guest. It has more permissions as well, and you can toggle these permissions on or off. You can search for a specific one, but for example, I could decide to allow people to have control over the jukebox, or I could decide that they have build permission, or even that they can sort of edit functions or whatever it is. I'm not going to change any of that for now, but basically it is a big way of deciding who gets what permissions in your house. And in order to change someone's group, you can just punch them with your nether star when they're in their house or your house, and then it opens up a menu where you can change their group, ban them, kick them, whatever. And then we go into systems, teams, and you can make a team. I'm not going to really go into it too much, but you can decide to edit the display of it. You can decide whether you want to balance it, whether you want each team to have their own chat. And that's all for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this housing tutorial today on basic things that you should know. And that's all for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this housing tutorial of things you should know when you're starting out. And be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. It really helps me know that you enjoy my content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Hope you all have a great day.